I'm Nate Eaton with EastIdahoNews.com. Election Day is coming up on November 3rd, and we think it's important for all of us to be involved in our community. Behind this door are candidates running for local office, and over the next few minutes, we're going to discuss some important issues with them that may impact you and your family. We invite you to leave your comments on our Facebook page and at EastIdahoNews.com, and as always, remind you to vote on November 3rd.
We'd like to welcome you to EastIdahoNews.com debate for the Rigby City Council. Tonight, we're going to have 3 questions for each candidate. They will each have 90 seconds to answer the questions. We will finish with a 60-second conclusion that each of them will have. We'd like to introduce the candidates. We have Keith Smith, Emily Thomas, Kirk Olson, Nicole Waite, and Doug Burke. The first question. The city of Rigby is going through a difficult decision whether to maintain the city police department or to cut costs and contract the services out to the county sheriff's office. If you were elected, how would you vote on this decision? Keith.
It's my opinion we should keep our police department intact. We've had that police department for 112 years now. We need to keep it there. That's part of our identity. That's who we are as people want to move to the city of Rigby. They will look at the things we have to offer, our school district, our library system, and want to know if we have a police department. I don't know that I would have a lot of faith in the county in delivering the services that we have at this point. When we have an issue in town, we can respond immediately. I'm not 100% positive that the county would be willing to do that or have the capability to do that. We've always had that to police department. We have officers, we have a total of over 50 years experience with our officers that cannot be replaced. Our officers know first names of people. They know where people live. That's very important to me and to our community. I'd like to maintain that quality and go on from there. Thank you.
Doug.
The statistics on the police department, they're 55% of our total budget of the city. I am in concurrence with Keith. I support our police department and behind our police department 100%. But if there's any way we can look at it and look at budget issues and trying to save money, that is a very important thing for our city. We could use the money on our infrastructure and other projects that we have going within our city to help out with that budget.
Emily.
I think I would vote no at this time for 2 reasons. One, there needs to be a level of trust more with the county before we contract with them, and we need to have an elected sheriff, someone that we can trust. I think that it may be a good idea to think about in the future, but for right now I would say no. And I also appreciate having a local police department. I know many of them personally and their families, and they are wonderful people, and it's a very hard decision to cut someone's job. And our community, one of the best things about it is that we're safe. We live in a safe community. We can walk home at night. You know, we wave to the police officers, and so this is a big decision, but right now I would say no. And I also agree with Mr. Burke that we need to look at the budget and see if we can cut it and see if maybe that money could be spent better elsewhere.
Nicole.
If I were to have to vote today, I would also say no. I think that it's good to look at. I think that Mayor Richardson did a huge favor to the city by even suggesting it. But I do still, like Emily, I think there's a lot of distrust right now. It's something that needs to be looked at again in the future if it is such a cost savings to the city. I spoke with one of the officers, and he pointed out that the city officers can be proactive instead of reactive, as the county would have to be. They know how long it takes to get through each street. They know which cars are supposed to be at a home. They know who's not home and whose house they should be watching a little bit closer. And so until I was able to sit down and look at the budget and what is proposed, I would have to say no.
Thank you. Kirk.
Yes, thank you. Currently, I'm on the city council, and so I've been able, over the last couple of weeks, or last 3 weeks that this came out, to interview and talk to a number of constituents in Rigby. And I would like to think that I have an open mind at this point based on the fact that, you know, it is still a hotly debated issue. But I would have to say that currently, with the people that I've talked to, the majority of them, whether they're older or younger, currently feel that they would not like to see the police department go over to, their services go over to the county. There's a number of issues involved with that, but I think that overall, at least from the people I've talked to, which has been over 50, probably 50, 60 people, have indicated that they would much rather pay the tax or the additional tax if that's necessary and keep the police department. They would also, I think, a better possible view on that would be maybe to review the police budget, cut back in certain areas as we did in our last council meeting. But overall, I think without saying yes or no definitively yet, that's where I stand.
The second question, in addition to the city police, Rigby is looking at updating the city sewer system. What projects do you see the city needing to undertake, and where would that funding come from? We'll start this time with Kirk Olson.
Okay, I would totally agree that the city sewer system is a continual upgrade and needs to be on the projects, not only currently that we're working with, but also into the future. Currently, in the past, the city has about $9 million through two different vendors that they currently have funded the sewer system with. And that I think going forward, that if we were to do some upgrades within the city, that would be the way that we would finance it, would be through bonds and different avenues that we have done in the past. But absolutely, that needs to be utmost on the city's projects list every year. It needs to be reviewed every year going forward. It definitely is one of the best services that we need to look at and offer.
Nicole.
The sewer systems are a huge problem, I believe. I don't know too much about them because that's not really my area of interest in the city. But I do know that a lot of builders that have looked at building in the city are having problems building because of the sewer systems. They are so much older, it's hard to match them up with newer equipment. It's something that needs to be addressed, and it's something that's a continual problem. We always have roads dug up and needing replaced, and it needs to be looked at.
Emily.
You know, a sewer issue is something that affects everyone, and that's definitely a basic need of our city. And so that money, I'm not sure, honestly, where that would come from, but I would be willing to look at any options before, we take it out of the taxpayers' money. But it is, like I said, a problem that everyone benefits or doesn't benefit from, and so it may have to come from bonds, levies, those kind of things.
Thank you. Doug.
The sewer system that we have currently, we are fairly up to date as the sewer system itself. Are prioritizing our budget on spending for the capital improvements that we have for the city right now is our problem. We just need to be aware of a 5-year plan that we need to upgrade our city sewer system and just stay ahead of the needs. It's a real hot item, and we need to keep that mindful in our budget that we have.
Thank you. And Keith.
Yes, I know that the city completed a new wastewater treatment facility approximately 7 years ago. Since that point, we did a collection system upgrade where we took the most prioritized, the worst lines in town and replaced those. We still need to do maintenance. That's an ongoing issue. There is money set aside, I believe, out of your sewer bill every month to do maintenance. Now, that doesn't include new projects. That is maintenance only. It's a very important thing. These projects, this money has already been, the programs are in place to set aside money. Now, if you have a major project, then yes, we need to go outside. As I was involved in city government before, we did acquire a loan from DEQ. I don't know the exact amount, but we were able to negotiate the interest down to 0%. We saved the taxpayers a lot of money, and that's how we completed these projects. So we have some of the money left that we didn't spend on interest, and that's allowed us to set money aside for future projects.
Our third question is, everybody talks about bringing good, high-paying jobs into the city. What are you willing to do, and how far are you willing to go to attract them? Keith?
You know, we have some basic needs in the city, and for us to grow any further, one of the basic needs that we need, and we had a study done years ago, and I know the council has updated that. The basic concern that Keller Engineering that did that study for us told us that we need to improve our water system. We don't have adequate storage facilities and wells to supply water to the citizens and the business community during the high demand periods. That's one of our basic things that we need to do so that we have the infrastructures we've just spoken about to supply these things. We also need to have our Chamber of Commerce be as active as they can be to help promote our community and let people know that need to look at businesses, that we have the people here to support those businesses, and we have the ability to support that. I think that we have a great community. We've always been known as a bedroom community, and we need to change that attitude to a bit to encourage new businesses to come to our community. That's about all.
Doug?
On that, I feel that we need to work with our urban development and our city infrastructure. To work on that, we need to work with our city infrastructure to create more places for these businesses to move into. We're growing. We need to be more proactive with the type of businesses we want to bring into our community. We need to work with our planning and zoning and to work with the, like I said, the urban renewal to help identify the people and businesses we need to bring into the community.
Thank you. Emily?
This question is one close to my heart, and I love Rigby local businesses, and I started a farmer's market here so that I've noticed in our community we have lots of entrepreneurs and these people with awesome ideas and things that they're passionate about. And I think giving them a start is the most important thing. And infrastructure is also important, and the urban renewal has made our city more beautiful. We now have rodeo grounds with 500 plus parking space. These kind of things are important. And so there's lots of things that go into this. Infrastructure, water, will the community support it? Networking, communication, all of those things. I would be willing to do whatever I can and get right down there, right in the street, and help people with local jobs, because I think that Rigby is a great place to live, and we can have a self-sustaining, supportive community.
Nicole?
I think that local businesses are great. I love them. I don't know how much they pay. I don't know what high paying is to a lot of people. But I know that getting businesses in the city instead of right outside the city, like on our county line, businesses that we have there, I don't know how to bring them in, but I would be willing to work with them in planning and zoning and to bring those jobs into Rigby so that we're not having to go outside of our city for everything that we need. Whether it's infrastructure, planning and zoning, I'm not sure. I got to work with the community review that we did a while ago, and all of those people were very interested in having more business in our area, and I think that's very important to a lot of people.
Thank you. And now Kirk.
I think it's extremely important, and I echo a lot of the things and sentiments that Keith has said when it comes to you need to protect your water. We need more water. We need better roads, and we need overall better facilities to attract some of these businesses to come in. The way that we're going to, or possibly could lower taxes, is by a better tax base with new businesses coming in that would pay more sales tax. They would pay more income tax. They would pay more property tax. And that's how we're going to hopefully decrease the taxes in Rigby. Rigby's a great place. I've talked to a number of people, actually 3 or 4 of them in the last month, who have said they would like to see Rigby become more construction ready. It seems like in a lot of things, what we do is not necessarily conducive to doing business, hooking up to the sewer sometimes, because the sewer system is a little old and antiquated. We haven't got to it quite yet. Is important to them. They would like to see that cost come down and be a little more aggressive from that standpoint. And I guess I would echo those things. I'd like to do those things that make it necessary that these businesses would come to Rigby. And if we have better roads, we had better sewer and attractive rates, those businesses would come, because we have the infrastructure to eventually do that.
Now we're going to give you each 60 seconds for a closing statement. And Kirk, we will once again begin with you.
Okay, again, I'd like to thank you for giving us the opportunity to sit down and maybe discuss some of the issues. Some of the things that are near and dear to me as I've been a councilman is that I was elected because of the people of the majority in the city of Rigby elected me. And I need to make sure going forward that I progressively portray what they want and not what I want. I think it's extremely important that in the decisions that I make, that I look at that, what they want as a majority, because they're the ones that put me there, and that going forward, that on those decisions that mean a lot, near and dear to what we're talking about, that I come through with what I need to do to make them happy. And I think that's part of what we need to do.
Thank you. Nicole.
Yes, thank you for having us and letting us answer questions for you. I am just really excited to do this. This is way out of my comfort zone. I have been learning and reading council minutes and just learning so much more about our city and being involved. And I'm really excited to start talking to those people and answering questions and being better prepared to serve our city. And I look forward to getting to learn all of the things that Councilman Olson has been learning, and Councilman Burke, even though he hasn't been in there very long, I think he's doing a great job, and I want to be a better example like they have been to us. And I would like to answer questions and be open, and I just want to be approachable.
And Emily.
Yes, thank you for this opportunity. I also was nervous to come here. I haven't been in politics before, but I really would like to establish an open line of communication from the public to the council more, and I appreciate that you've been out talking to people, and I think that's exactly what a council person should do. When I've been out in the community, I've noticed there's a gap between my age group and the older age group, and I want to bridge that gap, and I want to have that communication there so that all of us are represented and everyone's needs are taken care of, and we can have a self-sufficient, sustainable community that is thriving, that is better for our children when they grow up, and is better for us when we get older. So I'm excited to serve. I'm excited to learn about local politics. I have a lot to learn, and like Nicole, I've been doing a lot of studying and things that I haven't read before, but I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Doug.
I'd like to thank you for the opportunity that we have to come and visit with you today. I'm also excited about our community. I'm been serving on the council for the last 5 months now, and it's been a good experience for me. I've noticed visiting with the constituents out in the community, there's a lot of concern for a lot of issues that have been going on. I know for me personally, I like the projects that have been happening in the community. I'd like to see the city grow more. I'd like to see the library expand a little bit more and work with them. And I think our kids are our future. I think we need to invest in our kids and our community and just make it an all-around great place to live.
And Keith.
Thank you. I'd like to express my appreciation to my fellow candidates for their answers and opinions here tonight. I appreciate each and every one of them. We've brought up some particular issues here that I have my own personal feelings about. I have experience. I've spent 8 years in our city government. I was on the legislative committee for the Association of Idaho Cities. I've been a business owner in the city of Rigby for 19 years. I think our big concern is improving our infrastructure. When we do that, we can bring in more people, and to bring in more people, you can bring in new businesses.
Thank you. We'd like to thank each of the candidates for being a part of this and being here tonight. We'd like to thank EastIdahoNews.com for sponsoring the debate, and we want to remind everyone, please get out and vote. Thank you.